The first thing I told you to do was do coffee enemas, and you were like, "No, fuck that."
I remember, I was willing to try a lot of stuff, but 2019 when we were working together, I was like, I draw the line and put in coffee in my ass. That's
you
not
hadn't
happening.
suffered enough yet.
Today, I want to talk about just me personally, because you've thrown out a bunch of different ideas they can run with. But for me personally, what I found the most valuable, and I want to kind of break it down in terms of the modalities, the this to that, and just let you guys know, because a lot of times, even when we were working together, there's stuff you were throwing my way, and I was like, Josh, I'll be honest with you, like I can see the benefit in this, but this just takes away too much time from my day. For me, like I have my set schedule. I'm also slightly autistic, so if I get to my desk for 9:07 rather than 9 on the dot, I'm like antsy and stuff like that. So yeah, I'd say the first phase of us working together, of that 12-week period, first thing we did, I think the first thing we did was I actually literally just took my computer to every single room in my house. I was like, okay, how do we optimize it? Right. So the first thing I think was bedroom, getting rid of all EMFs. That was super, super powerful. And then one thing that I used for a year is a Bemer, until I actually broke it. It was in my suitcase coming on the way back from Cape Town. And I haven't gone one since. And I kind of regret it. That tool is incredible.
The Bemer is amazing for sleep, amazing for energy. And yeah, NASA uses the Bemer, right? So it's a epic technology.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I've been tracking my sleep for, years and years. Oura was one of my old clients. So I have a lot of data to work off of, and I could tell from day one of getting the Bemer, I actually got anywhere from a 25 to 30% increase in terms of my REM and my deep sleep. Right. So I remember I would always get between I would usually get like 2 hours of deep and then 1 hour and a half of REM. And then when I got the Bemer, I started getting like 2.5 hours of deep and usually around 2 hours of REM. So it's quite a noticeable difference for me.
Totally.
Yeah. And as I said, for me as well, the other thing is having stuff in my life where it doesn't take me off of what I'm already doing. Right. We've mentioned before, as I'm moving to Dubai, I'm on the 40th floor, beautiful 4-bedroom apartment. But I even noticed the last time I was in Dubai, I was like, fuck, I can tell my sleep is not where it was. And actually, now in this house is a 4-floor house. I'm on the 2nd floor. That's where my bedroom is. And I can tell I sleep worse than my old place, where I was actually it was kind of like a sub basement, like half a meter below ground. And I slept really well at my old place. So I can tell like the sort of higher up you are from the ground, like your health, your sleep deteriorates.
Totally. The EMFs and geopathic stress, which is ley lines, are basically double every 50 meters you go up. The negative impact of EMFs and geopathic stress. Higher you go, the more negative it is.
So, I was actually off camera getting Josh's advice as to what I should do. Obviously now being, in Dubai on the 40th floor, and we were talking 2 options: either, get a Bemer again, or
grounding pad. Samina makes an incredible grounding pad. Samina makes a grounding pad that plugs into an outlet. As long as the outlet is grounded, it pulls electrons from the ground. Even if you're on the 40th floor, the ground outlets are grounded. They're all the way. There's metal reaching all the way down to the earth from in that building in Dubai. So you can actually pull electrons from that all the way up to the 40th floor and have them feed your body with this device.
So we ended up deciding Bemer was a better option.
I honestly, I think both would be good, but you like
I'm not going to sleep
one
on
thing.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't sleep on both, but you could use the Bemer during the day and the night, and then sleep on the grounding pad.
So I think that's what we were discussing.
Yeah.
I was saying look, to be honest, I'm not going to remember to do 7 minutes in the morning,
Totally.
and 7 minutes at night in terms of using a grounding pad. So I just want something that I can sleep, because the Bemer is so easy. You just press one button.
Yeah.
Once you do the settings, you just press one button, and there we go. That's
I would just get the Bemer and sleep on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, going back to 2019, we implemented Bemer. I'm thinking about what else we had in my bedroom. Instead, obviously getting rid of all EMFs.
You began to use blue light blockers then, I think.
Yeah.
I don't even think you knew about them
No. Actually, no. That's a lie. A year before I had.
Oh, you did? Okay.
But I started using the really dark,
the full
intense
ones.
Yeah. And then the other thing that I actually had in my bedroom at that time was a Juve.
Yeah.
I didn't have space to put it anywhere else, so I put it on the back of my master bedroom. So yeah, do you actually ever own a Juve?
I had a Juve for a year. I think it's a cool toy, but it wouldn't be on the essentials list.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But I love it, especially if you're in London.
No, that's I think that's the main thing. But as I said, Juve wise, thought that wasn't necessary. But for anyone who is in New York in the winter, is in London, is in, like, for me, if you're one of those people, it goes from not so essential to like actually for me one of the top priorities.
Yes.
So yeah, I remember we had that. Then the other thing we started moving on to was because we consider that an easy win, was toiletries, and switching all my toiletries to sort of like
herbal natural alternatives. Yeah.
That one I didn't really stick with. Some of them smelled a little funny, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe that's something that I can revisit. But yeah, there we go. So I just want to give you guys context as to over the years what has worked, what hasn't worked. The reason it hasn't, I'll be honest, started smelling a little bit like a
hippie.
Yeah, pretty much. So ended up, these days I think I use Lush, which has like,
it's all good.
Yeah,
you do what you can when you can. You don't have to follow every piece of advice.
Yeah. So that's really why I wanted to give you guys context to what I managed to keep in my life. Didn't involve all this stuff. So then moving on to
the first thing I told you to do was do coffee enemas, and you were like, "No, fuck that."
Yeah, and we'll get onto that in a little bit. And then moving on to some of the supplement stuff. So I always told you, hey, I'm willing to do supplements at lunch when I break my fast, because I used to fast back then. Lunch when I break my fast, and then before bed, I was willing to do sort of 2 rounds of supplements. So now looking back, because I said I just want to be very honest, I don't think there's any that for me personally I've just been like, okay, that's something. Oh, maybe Enteros gel. Yeah,
Enteros gel is just a silica-based binder that you can buy, especially if you're in Europe. You can actually buy it in pharmacies, and it is great for food poisoning and great for being when you're hungover. It's also great for detoxing aluminum out of the body, and just a general binder when you feel shitty. You just mix it with water and drink it on an empty stomach. It's basically a binder, which means that it grabs onto toxins and helps you remove it. So it's awesome.
So Josh and I started working together in summer of 2019. So I'm sure you can guess what I used Enteros gel for back then. So it was a real lifesaver. Yeah. And apart from that, there's none that I'd say I really took with me. I mean, we experimented with a bunch of different stuff. Yeah. There was like pine pollen, and like this, and we made like these certain smoothies and these different concoctions. But I said for me, like I don't know, nothing really sucked. Yeah. So then there's some other stuff as well
that we did in the beginning. There was coffee enemas, there was juices, and like changing the water. We changed your water, right?
Drinking out of glass.
Introduced juices.
Start drinking out of glass. Yes. That was a big thing that we made.
And also just bottled water instead of tap water.
Yeah, for sure. And then around that time, didn't start doing Epsom salts, Epsom baths. You recommended it strongly. So in terms of detox protocols, I'd say that's probably like my third, in my list. For me, I'd say probably top is steam room, sauna, cold plunge. That kind of trio.
Hell yeah.
For me, I'm very lucky. My gym members club is approximately a 15 to 20 meter walk. Like it takes 15 seconds to get there. So I can go steam room, sauna, cold. I mean, we've been doing it the past few days, rounds of steam, cold plunge, sauna, cold plunge, et cetera, et cetera. So I'd say for me personally, that's number one. If you have access to that.
Yeah. I just want to say, if you have access to sunlight, clean water, steam, sauna, cold plunge, you don't need to take supplements. Yeah. I mean, you can, and it'll be a little bonus, but if you have access to that core and you're eating clean food, you're detoxing,
for sure.
And you're getting healthier.
And then after that, I'd say coffee enemas.
Yeah.
And that was, I remember, I was willing to try a lot of stuff, but 2019 when we were working together, I was like, I draw the line and put in coffee in my ass. That's
you hadn't suffered enough yet.
No. And then when I had my autoimmune condition in 2020, and like I had to strip everything back, that's why I started the carnivore diet, which turned out to be a big, massive blessing. Even after I was kind of past it, I had to then start doing coffee enemas, and I started doing some salt flushes as well. And I think we'll add that in the list later. But yeah, coffee enemas. Can you maybe explain to them the reasoning why someone would possibly want to put coffee in their ass?
Totally. It's a hack. It's a life hack. Drinking coffee is very acidic, and the caffeine is very stimulating when you drink coffee orally. When you insert coffee rectally, your body does not digest the caffeine in the same way.
I said this to someone, right? Because obviously when I do monk mode, I don't drink coffee.
Yeah.
Right. And they were like, but I swear, when you, like with drugs, they were like, with drugs, like I swear if you do it rectally, it's more intense.
Yeah. A lot of drugs, they go, it shoots straight into the liver. But the thing is that your small intestine is what is digesting, is what is alchemizing caffeine. It turning caffeine into energy. Your large intestine doesn't have that capability. So you're not actually, the coffee is only hitting your rectum and your liver, right? So your liver can't process caffeine the way that your small intestine does. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
The reason for it is that it boosts glutathione, right? It makes you feel clean. It makes you feel clear. It makes you feel vibrant. Also, it gives the liver a boost. Each time you do a coffee enema, it's kind of stimulating the liver and stimulating your peristalsis, which is your bowel movement, to basically release. So you're just boosting your detox, and you're getting some nutrients from the coffee itself. And it's like a meditation. I'm sure it's one of your favorite parts of the day. Do you enjoy doing
it? No, weirdly enough, yes.
Right? It's like
you just feel so good after.
Yeah, and it's peaceful to do them. It's like a routine, and it's like a meditation. So they are, I would say, more for people who are truly interested in health and really detoxifying their bodies, but an awesome tool.
No, I mean, if there's ever any day where you're just like, I feel like shit.
Totally.
Maybe you ate something the day before, you're just feeling a little off. Ate some shitty food, or you're hungover, or this or that. I think they're like, I wish it wasn't the case, because I really wish I couldn't be like such a proud advocate of like shooting coffee in your bum.
You get over it quickly. I do believe that actually coffee enemas originated from, I'm pretty sure, let me just say this, you have to research it after, but I'm pretty sure nurses helped soldiers with their pain with coffee enemas. Like that was something they did. They inserted coffee rectally to help them with their pain during World War II. But yeah.
Interesting. So why, because I've asked you before, I'm like, okay, what's the, like, why coffee of all things? Like, why not just water?
Yeah. So coffee is, first of all, stimulates the bowels. Water will not do that. Coffee, there's, I think it's palmolic acid, and the caffeine itself is stimulating your bowels. It's like a snake-like movement, peristalsis, and coffee will actually stimulate it. So you're cleaning your colon with coffee way more than you would be with water. Also, coffee boosts glutathione. The same acid will help your body produce more glutathione. And there's also some nutrients. There's selenium in coffee. There's some other nutrients. So it's a medicine used in the right way. I also think it could be a medicine to drink it, but not every day, and not the way we drink it and the amount that we drink it in conventional society. But it's a widely used modality in alternative health. It originated also from the Gerson therapy. He kind of made it more famous.
So as I said, for me, steam room sauna cold plunge, that would be number one. Then coffee enemas, number three, I would say Epsom salt baths.
Yep. So actually, there's a way to make basically your own detox bath, like equivalent to like a hot springs, even sometimes more powerful than a hot springs, in your own bathtub.
So that's number three. And then number four, I'd say, is fasts. Yeah. So for me, because I'm pretty lean, anything past 72 hours, can't do. Or it's, then once again, it takes away from the main thing, which for me is work, business, this, that. I'm sure at some point I want to do a 7-day fast, but I just need to take time off work.
Totally.
So yeah, I'd say those are pretty much my four those four. And then I'd say the biggest, for me personally, the biggest out of everything is diet. So finding one that works for you. As I said, I know you're not personally a fan of carnivore.
I mentioned in the video that I actually like the diet for a phase, carnivore diet for a phase of an anti-inflammatory phase, but not for the long haul.
Yeah.
But if it works for you the long haul, by all means.
Yeah, for sure.
Everything, by the way, is like up to the individual body, no dogma. If something's working for you, do it. Even if I say it's not good or whatever, Yeah.
So yeah, those are pretty much, I'd say, the most powerful things in terms of modalities.